It's been 35 days since I first set up my low-maintenance 20-gallon aquarium, and I'm excited to show you where things are at. It's definitely still a work in progress, but we're getting there, so let's dive in. First up, we do have some diatom algae. If you're new to fish keeping, this is that brown, dusty stuff that shows up when a tank's cycling or when conditions are just right, or rather wrong. It's super common in new setups, and while it doesn't look great, it's actually part of a normal process of the tank maturing. It's usually caused by excess silicates from new substrate, rocks, or even tap water, and it thrives under bright lights. Most of the time, it clears up on its own as the tank stabilizes. But if it doesn't go away after a while and you find out your tap water is high in silicates, a product like Seachem PhosGuard can work wonders. It removes both silicates and phosphates and can help knock out that algae fast. In the meantime, I added a small army of nerite snails to help clean things up. Speaking of which, I had ordered a variety pack of zebra, red-spotted, and horned nerites. They're not only cool looking, but they're also amazing at eating algae, especially diatom algae. They won't harm your plants, they stay busy, and honestly, they're kind of the unsung heroes of freshwater tanks. And yes, they can lay eggs in freshwater, but don't worry, they'll only reach maturity if you have them in brackish water. So we won't experience a snail explosion, just little efficient cleaners doing their job. On top of the diatom algae, I also started getting some hair algae popping up, which again isn't super uncommon in newer setups. So to help with that, I've been using a bit of liquid carbon, and it's already starting to make a difference. If you look, you can see some green hair algae and some is brown. The brown is dying back. It's starting to die off because I've been adding the liquid carbon. It's one of those tools you can use carefully to knock back algae while things are still balancing out in your aquarium. So I'm also planning to add some Amano shrimp in the near future once I feel the tank is stable enough for them. Amano shrimp are fantastic at eating algae, especially hair algae. They are one of the best cleanup crew options out there, and they're fun to watch too. So that's all part of my long-term plan for keeping things clean and under control in this tank. It's all about slowly adding the right species and building out a self-sustaining little ecosystem one step at a time. Now let's talk about the plants. In the first few weeks, I did notice some melting and dieback, which is totally normal in a new tank. Plants often go through an adjustment period when placed in a new tank. And even worse, sometimes these plants are grown outside of water and they tend to not react very well when suddenly submerged. But I am happy to say that the melt has completely stopped and everything is now starting to take off. The water wisteria is really starting to thrive, putting out a ton of new growth, and the duckweed is starting to finally spread across the surface. I was thinking about adding more wisteria and floating it to help shade things out in the tank, but with the duckweed starting to finally kick in and the rooted wisteria thriving, I scrapped that plan. My anubias is also starting to put out some new leaves, and I'm hoping that my java fern will start taking off soon. The crypts, I gotta talk about the crypts though, because they almost completely melted. And everything you see here now, almost all of those are new leaves. They're almost all new growth. I did get slightly concerned that my crypts were not gonna make it because they had melted so badly, but I kept reminding myself there was a good chance they were probably grown outside of water and to just give them a little bit of time. And sure enough, they're starting to take off, and I think in a few more weeks, maybe a few more months, they'll really look amazing. And now we're to my driftwood. I really wanted to put this really cool driftwood in my tank. And it's been soaking for a month and it's still floating. Still. So I'm boiling it again and I'm really hoping it finally starts getting waterlogged enough to actually sink. If it works, awesome. If not, I guess I'm just gonna keep trying until it finally gives in and stays down. So yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with things are going, even if it's still in the early stages and even if we've experienced a little bit of algae. Sometimes it's just dialing things in, and honestly, a little bit of algae is a good thing, especially when you plan on keeping things like snails and shrimp in a tank, because that's just free food for them. So the lighting's getting adjusted, the snails are doing their thing, the algae is being handled, and the plants are finally settling in. And that's the kind of beauty of aquariums. They're always a work in progress, like a living, breathing, ever-changing piece of art.